Welcome, my Chingus, to episode 12 of Two Waygooks in Korea. My name is Steven.
My name's Josh.
And we are both English teachers living in South Korea. And in this episode, we want to talk about 5 things you shouldn't do when you come to Korea.
Yeah, basically etiquette. Some things and...
Things that are totally okay in America, but you probably shouldn't do here.
Or just differences in culture, what's expected of you, even if you're a foreigner. So.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, you shouldn't murder. Shouldn't rape. Shouldn't sell no drugs. That's obvious.
But that's just human rights, right?
So the first thing that, I didn't even know until like the second week here is how to call people over in Korea.
Yes. It's very different than... It matters. If you think like, oh yeah, like, in America, sometimes you're like, oh, come here. Or just like, can I talk to you for a second, right? Yeah. It really matters here because one way is kind of like the way they call over like animals. So you don't want to be calling over a co-teacher to confirm something and call over like a puppy. So what is the correct way to call someone over, Steven?
So the correct way, which you also use when you want to call a taxi, like on the street, is you kind of down. It's kind of like this.
Yeah, you want to face your wrist downwards, rather than upwards.
Grabbing a little ball.
Like in the Western world, like you kind of like, hey, Steven, come here, I need to talk to you. Or like, come here a little sec. This is like the way to call animals. Like, oh, you cute little puppy, come here. Like, no, don't do that to like.
No, like, come here.
Come here. That's basically what it's like. Yeah. So if you want to hail a taxi, wrist downwards, or like, I need to speak to you really quick. Like, you'll get the hang of it really quickly, and then you'll probably carry it over when you go back. And
they'll be like, what are you doing? What's wrong with your hand? But like, in that vein, you don't like point at somebody and like, hey, come here. You don't do that. I mean, it's a little rude in America still, but that happens a lot. Like as a teacher, you're like, hey, Steven, come over here. Like I've done that millions of times. Not meant to be rude. But here it's kind of like, you got to be really polite about it. Got to be like, not very aggressive. Come on down.
Well, sometimes for my students, I'm like, yeah. I'm like, come here.
As hard as I can.
You're like,
get your ass over here.
You've been smoking, haven't you? Yeah, I can tell.
Smack that ass. I mean, what?
I don't know what you're doing with your students, but I'll do that with my students.
That's true. They don't hit in the butt. They hit him. What are they? They hit him in the shins,
the thighs, or like the back of the calves.
Ooh,
it hurts. I can hear it. But anyways, move on. Number 2. Number 2. We'll probably discuss this a lot in our other Waygooks, but receiving or giving things, you usually want to use 2 hands. You may or may not know this because this is a pretty big deal. You will notice it, people handing things like this, or like they have their hands on the thing like this. You basically want to like show sincerity by giving something usually with 2 hands. Obviously, if it's like a little kid or something, you just like hand them a paper. But like my students, I just give them to them 1 hand. But when I hand things to like my co-teachers, I definitely use 2 hands. Yeah. So,
and just to clarify, I mean, you've done it, but like 2 hands does not mean like straight up 2 hands. Like you can use 1 hand to support the other. Yeah. This is very common where the 1 hand is like down here. Yeah. Just as long as you're like holding up the other hands, like 2 hands together as one.
And this goes along with a lot of things. Like we'll probably do a drinking kind of culture one, Waygooks maybe later on, but definitely receiving like a shot, you receive it with 2 hands, or you pour a shot, you pour with 2 hands, or even handshakes.
2 hands.
Handshakes.
Like Bill Gates got in big trouble because he met someone from Korea and he just
the president
one hand in his pocket shaking a hand. Like you just don't do that here.
He doesn't do that. You always want to shake hands with either like you grasp the hands with 2 hands, or you grasp your wrists, or you like tuck your hand into your side and kind of give a bow. So
I get used to like even for my students, I just do it just so I don't forget. Like I just use 2 hands for everything. I bow at if everyone says hi, I'm just like bow. Just do it. Just in case. You don't know who it is. Just bow. So that's what I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a must. 2 hands to show respect.
Money. Don't forget that. Money. Sometimes in America, you just kind of like, here it is. Here it is, bitch. Make it rain. But no, you got to be like.
Anything that you're handing, 2 hands. Anything you're receiving, 2 hands. Yeah. Always 2 hands. Incredible. When in doubt, 2 hands. Yeah. Just to show respect.
Very interesting. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Number 3. I mean, this one might seem like a no-brainer, but in Korea, like, you don't show any cleavage.
Any sort of cleavage.
Any cleavage. And I know you're like, obviously, but like, I was a teacher and other teachers would come in with a fair bit of cleavage. Like in Korea, like, for example, if I'm wearing if this was a dress shirt and I just had it like this because I'm too fat. I'm too fat to button it up, right? That is more cleavage than 90% of the teachers show.
Yeah, women teachers.
Yeah. Like, they are all, like, straight up here.
Yeah, all their blouses are, like, crew necks, like, definitely not showing any cleavage at all.
Yeah.
Not even close. But on the other hand, you will see some teachers who wear very, very, like, short or tight, like, pants. Cleavage is a big no-no for them, but tight pants or legs, like, perfectly okay.
Yeah.
For some reason. Like, yeah, it's definitely the opposite of what you think.
Yeah, I've asked my, like, female co-teachers, and I'm just like, why is that girl okay? She's wearing a mini skirt
to work.
Or even just walking around the street in general. Just, you know, there's a lot of mini skirts in Korea. Like that.
Yeah.
Girls love skirts here.
Even in the winter.
Yeah. It makes no sense.
Don't make no sense.
But I asked them, I was like, why is that okay? And they're just like, why is it not okay? I'm like, well, in America, like, legs and revealing, you know, kind of the butt, kind of crotch area, that's
like the same
sexual.
That's
the same as
cleavage.
Your boobs. And they're just like, no it's not. Like, legs are just legs. And I'm like, yeah, but K-pop stars, you see their legs and stuff, and they're like, yeah, but they're just legs. Like, sometimes they're nice legs, but,
yeah,
you know.
I guess legs just kind of is, like, not sexual, but still sexual for them. It's hard to explain, but it's more accepted to show leg versus, like, cleavage or...
Like, legs are nice. People appreciate them, but they're not like, I'm gonna fucking pop a boner from that. And the same thing with butt. They really, like... A lot of girls wear a lot of really tight clothes here, and I don't really see many people checking out butt. Now, to be fair, they're all Asian here, and they don't have like, the same butt.
They're kind of lacking in that department, you know what I'm saying? So...
Right. But I don't think I've ever heard... Granted, I don't talk to that many Korean dudes, but I've never heard them like, that ass, you know, like, they don't care about that. But when you show a little bit of cleavage, that's
like,
all big. That's like...
That's a big deal.
Your pants are wet now.
And it's kind of strange, but I think cleavage is, like, even more kind of risque than, like, midriff. Midriff? Just like midriff, right? Like, yeah. I think it's like, maybe, at least for me in America, like, you see a fair amount of cleavage, but, like, when a girl is, like, showing their stomach, it's like, whoa, at least for my, I guess, conservative eyes. But Korea, I mean, not so much. Like, I've seen, like, some blouses that, like, will barely cover the stomach, and there's, like, maybe a few, like, maybe an inch or two of just not coverage. And, like, that is okay. And she'll be wearing, like, a turtleneck. And you're like, what the hell is going on? But that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Don't show your boobies if you got some boobies.
Yeah. It's like, you might think, like, oh, I'm really covered up in American standards, but you're probably not covered up.
Yeah.
So just make sure, you know, if you're a girl teacher and you're planning on coming here, like, bring a lot. Like, there have been some girl teachers we've talked to. They just didn't bring clothes to cover up a lot of that stuff because what they thought was
Western
was not
culture
okay.
versus and it kind of goes in the same vein, like cleavage, and also I think shoulders. Shoulders being shown is also a pretty big deal. As more as you think. But shoulders and cleavage, definitely cleavage more than shoulders, obviously. Yeah. But shoulders will, if you have bare shoulders, you'll kind of get some stares too. I don't know why.
You definitely will not see a tank top. I mean, granted, we weren't here in the height of summer, but
we're kind of like the tail end.
Yeah. People were still wearing sweaters for some odd reason.
Like, what?
But you're never gonna see. You're probably not gonna see a tank top here. That's just not happening.
Well, in the same vein as clothes. What's another do not with clothes, Steven?
We have mentioned this in our dining Waygooks before, but, you know, I've met a lot of people that just didn't know this, but Asian cultures in general, you don't wear shoes in the house.
Don't wear shoes in the house.
So, like, back home in America, my parents would not let shoes in the house. Same with yours?
No shoes in the house.
Right. A lot of American kids, my friends would come over and they're just like stomping all over. And I'm just like, what are you doing?
I'm going to get killed by my mom. Take off your freaking shoes.
Yeah, take it off.
I'm going to kill you.
Did your parents make you wear slippers or no?
Only when it was cold. Not when it was like warm. They're like, yeah, you can just walk around barefoot. It's fine. But we definitely had slippers in our house too. So
it's weird because I didn't have any slippers.
Yeah.
But I had many Asian families that do. And that goes for here. It's like anytime you walk into any building, like your school, many restaurants, usually more Korean traditional restaurants, you got to take off your shoes.
Yeah. And definitely in your schools, you will definitely have to take off your shoes and put on slippers. Now, it doesn't really make much sense because sometimes you'll see people walking outside with slippers and you're just like, it's the same amount of dirtiness. We don't know why. But it's just the idea of wearing like shoes indoors. Yeah. It's disrespectful. Yeah, sometimes your slippers will even be dirtier than your shoes. Like I will wear new shoes to school, which I'm pretty sure are cleaner than like slippers that I've like ran on the dirt with. Right. But that's just the way it goes. If we see students in the hallways with their shoes on, my teachers will point out and be like, hey, take off your shoes. And they will walk like in their socks and the ground is their socks.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. But shoes off all the time, even in school.
Like, for example, most houses or apartments have a little lower dish area where you got to take off your shoes so you can step into your real house with your socks on or slippers or whatever.
Yeah.
And so sometimes, I'm putting on my shoes and I forget to turn off a light. So one time I was with my girlfriend and I was just like, just quickly, without thinking, I was just like, I'm going to walk with my shoes, close the light and come out. And she was like, what the fuck did you just do? And I was like, what? She's like, I can't believe you just did that. And I was like, what?
Partially because you're Asian and you should know better.
But yeah, to be fair, actually, when I started living in my own house back home, like, I didn't care. I was like, whatever. It's easier to wear your shoes.
Yeah.
But, like, just the idea of stepping in your house with the outdoor shoes just
doesn't make any sense. Yeah, and there's like slippers for everything, too, in Korea. There's slippers for your house, bathroom slippers, like slippers for your school. Yeah. There's slippers everywhere. Why?
Slippery.
Slippers.
Slippers are cute. You can get cute ones. Yeah, let's talk about the last thing you should not do. This is important.
This is important. This was a big deal for me when I first came. I'm a very like touchy person. Like if I like you and I want to show affection, I'll be like hanging off you like a spider monkey.
How long did it take for you to touch my penis by accident?
I think it was like 2 or 3 days.
Yes.
I met him and then I accidentally grazed his penis just because we were in close proximity.
I never grazed anyone's penis by accident like that, but
it was But
I'm Asian. What are you gonna do?
The PDA amongst like the opposite sex, it is non-existent.
Right.
And this even goes with like Korean friends that we've talked to who are a little bit more westernized, like they understand the whole Western thing. Like they'll hug us and everything, but they'll be like, oh, I understand. Like I'm hugging you because you're a Westerner. And just physical affection with the opposite sex is just not really like looked good upon. Physical affection of the same sex, totally okay and totally expected. If you like someone of the same sex, you better touch them, or else they'll be like, why does this dude not like me?
Yeah.
But opposite sex, no. Like even if you're the best friends, no hugging. Like I will hug like some of my foreign friends, like because we still hug obviously, and we will get some stares. Like people will be looking at us like, why is this Asian dude? Why is this Korean? Like some people times they think I'm Korean. Like why is this Korean dude hugging that foreigner person?
Right.
Like unless you're like going out, it's not really looked nice upon. So
yeah, like for example, in America, even though I'm not the type of person to do this and you are, but like when you say your friends, you get a hug, right? Guy, girl, whoever. But I have heard from Korean people, like for example, we go to a language exchange and there's a lot of foreigners there and there's a lot of Korean people there, and like two foreigners will hug. I have heard from the Korean people, they're like, are those two dating? Are they having sex? Are they sexual buddies? And I'm like, what? They just hugged. I'm like, that means something. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. It just means they hug. And they're like, they've had sex. You can't see it, but they're having sex right now. And I'm like, what? Like, and then I would ask my girlfriend, I'm like, how bad is hugging? They're like, hugging is like extremely intimate here.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different than America, of course. It's like on par. I was like, okay, kissing or hugging? Which one's more intimate? She's like, they're the same. And I was like, what the? How the hell does that? What?
So basically, they see a hug here as like a kiss on the lips.
Yeah.
In the Western world.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, I still hug my foreign friends. Like F that. Like I'm a huggy person. I'm gonna hug you, whether you like it or not. I'm gonna touch you. I'm gonna touch you.
He will touch you.
I will touch
you. Some of you may want that touch. Some of us do not.
Steven doesn't like it.
It's a little rapey. Don't like it.
I get a little rapey with him, but it's very like a big deal. Like, unless you are going out and when people are going out, they definitely like hang off each other like they're freaking embryos. Like just like ew. But yeah, there's
like if you're two guys, you can borderline have sex and it's okay.
Yeah, you can like touch each other's penis.
Like
nothing happens.
They're hugging each other, even like bury your face in their neck. Like that's all okay. But if you touch a girl of the opposite sex, you just don't.
You just don't do it. It's really really strange.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I mean, like, so what do you do? Like most Korean people, when they say goodbye, like a lot of people hug goodbye, right? They're like, whatever, goodbye. They'll just do this.
I do this too. I'm like,
yeah.
See you.
Like it could be your best friend in the world. You're just like,
I see it all the time.
Yeah.
Like some of like Korean people I know who have known each other for a really really long time, they'll still do this.
Yeah. And it's not like they're. I mean, aside from the prudish thing, because a lot of people are like, oh, they're just prudes. You just have to really understand that hugging to them is like kissing, right? Just like in America, you don't want to see just random people just kissing all the time, right? And especially you will hug this friend, and then this friend in quick succession, right? It's not like, it'd be weird if we were hanging out and like some French person was like, kiss on the lips, kiss on the lips, kiss on the lips, right? Yeah. It's like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Culture.
Yeah. And I mean, so you have to think about it, right? Like even a kiss is just like a quick, like just by surface area, by math. Like kissing is like very, very little surface area, but a hug is like
it's a lot.
It's a lot of surface area.
And some people hug for a long time. I mean, long time. I mean, like some people are like, hug, we're done. Some people are like, hug, what's up, my chingu? And that's like, a little too long.
Like I like to rub your back.
He does.
I like crotch to crotch. Like
no. Say no to crotch to crotch.
Crotch to crotch is the best kind of hug.
But to be fair, I mean, you can hug. You might be like, oh, but I hug my Korean friends. I've done that before. And
ask them about it.
And you should ask them because they'll probably tell you that was fucking awkward as shit, man. Like,
it's very weird for me.
I don't know what to do.
They'll be like, I understand you're a Westerner and I'm pretty Westernized myself, but I grew up not doing that.
Yeah. So, just the more you know about what you shouldn't do.
And you might see different in like Korean dramas, but Korean dramas are not real life.
And not real life. That might be something else we might talk about. How real life is Korean. Because as far as romance goes, some of that shit is on par, man. Scarily on par.
But some of it is way different.
Yes.
So
so maybe until next time.
Yeah, this will wrap up episode 12 of Waygooks. If you like it, if you have any ideas that you want us to talk about, any experiences, if we have any experiences of that, we'll speak about it. But some things you guys ask, we can't really speak too much about it. We haven't really experienced it ourselves.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys understand.
Sure. What else do we do? On Sundays, we upload our podcast, which we do every week. This Sunday, we took a little break, or I should say last Sunday. We only talked about the new 21 album Crush, so you might want to check that out.
Yeah.
And on Fridays, what do we do on Fridays?
Fun Fridays, we play a little K-pop game called What Is That?
What is that?
It's a little K-pop guessing game about music videos, and if you like K-pop, if you like K-pop music videos, tune into it. Our last game should be in like 3 days.
Yep. Yeah. We took a little break last week due to some issues, but we're going to have like a double, quote-unquote, double-sized finale.
It's going to be a little bit longer than normal, so.
What else do we do? I guess that's it. I kind of did an experiment with one of my friends.
Oh, yeah.
And where we talk about a Korean drama. It's called Let's Talk K-Dramas, LTK. We were talking about God's Gift 14 Days. If you're watching that drama, check out us talking about it because we're going to do it for the whole run every week. Don't really know which days. It's probably going to be on maybe Sunday. I don't know.
The Korean name is 신의 선물.
Yes.
God's gift. Literally.
14 days. You got 14 days, Shinga. But anyways, until next time.
Bye.